Buenos dias, buenas tardes, y buenas noches. At whatever time you're watching and you're tuning into our podcast, welcome to Business Matters with Laura Nowlin podcast. And business does matter. I want you to know. Well, I want to first give a big shout out to one of our sponsors. Her name is Andrea Michelle. She's with Creativa Consulting. You can get a hold of her at 702-296-6242. She is the gal behind this. All this magic that's happening. Isn't this set amazing? I absolutely love it. I do. And then another shout out to See Us Now Staffing for sponsoring this segment as well. So thank you. And today I have a great guest with me with Workforce Connection. You know, they do such amazing work here in our state. And so if you don't know who Workforce Connection is, please do some research. But I've got Sherri Mantanona. Right? Mantanona with me. She's a manager, strategic initiatives. She's in charge of permitting, social environment management. So I probably tore that all up. But welcome. Tell us what your exact title is.
So I'm a strategic initiatives manager with Workforce Connections. My role with Workforce Connections is to convene the businesses, the partners. Mm-hmm. So when we're looking at industry sector partnerships, businesses like CS Now Staffing, businesses across the valley, we convene everybody. We talk about some of the concerns of the businesses when workforce gaps, what we can do with all of our partners. That includes the American Job Centers. That includes some of our GOINs, our OWINs, our state agencies, and how we can all kind of work together with higher education, K through 12, and create solutions for workforce pipelines.
No, you guys are a big deal here in our state. You help us small businesses out so much. But Sherri, I want to back up some. Mm-hmm. Are you originally from Vegas, or where did you come from? You know, how did you get here to Vegas?
Sure. So I am one of the rare natives. I was born and raised.
Oh.
I went to basic high school. I'm a Henderson girl.
Yeah.
I still live in Henderson.
Yes.
So I'm glad to just kind of be in Green Valley right now. And, you know, it's short distance. Usually everything's in Vegas. So I was here until about 2005, and then I moved to Guam for 5 years, and that's where I got my education as a non-traditional kind of second-time student. I was married with kids and got my degree in biology with a focus on ecology. And after spending 5 years there, we moved back to the States. Started consulting for the trades as an environmental manager, became a chief of operations for biological, serving trades across the valley, and one thing led to the next, and did a lot of workforce development within the companies that I was in. A lot of social consulting kind of falls in line with environmental consulting. Yeah. And when the time was right, it just kind of made sense for me to transition over to Workforce Connections.
No, and so then when you're doing environmental, what exactly are you protecting? Are you protecting our water? Are you protecting the animals like the turtles? What are you doing?
Everything. So it's all connected. So anytime that there is an infrastructure project, when there's federal regulations, you have a team of environmental professionals who are basically making sure that we're not doing any more damage than we absolutely have to do. And so we work hand in hand with the federal agencies, the state agencies, the contractors, the proponents of the projects, and we make sure that the project can still function, but in a responsible way. So we're looking at how we can control dust. We don't need excess dust in the air. How we can control erosion of soil, how we can control any degradation to habitat, and that involves animals, that involves plants. It's the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about maybe underground? You hear a lot about the tunnels being done underneath our city. Talk a little bit about that. What is your involvement that might have been there in the past, or maybe it's now with Workforce Connection? What role do you guys play in that? Or did you ever play any type of role in it?
So on the environmental side, I definitely haven't worked on any underground projects.
Okay.
That is very exciting. I have worked with multiple mining clients across the board, whether it was lithium, whether it was gold, copper. But for inside the valley, as Workforce Connections, is kind of out in the community. We have a couple of different businesses that are community partners or part of our industry partnership here. So we help support them in ways if they were looking for ways to upskill their workers. So if they needed funding or support to train their workers, to promote them and make room for new people, we can work with our industry sector partners and our businesses in that way. We also create hiring events. We have all kinds of different social mixers and business events that we put together to support the community that we're involved with.
I've been told that you're kind of now acting a little bit similar to a staffing agency, which I find that I don't even look at it as competition. I believe that our workforce is not where it needs to be, and we need all hands on deck. All hands on deck, people. We got to train the workers that are coming up that right now are graduating from school that really don't have the skill sets that we need them to have. So can you share a little bit about any involvement that you're doing there? Because I know you guys are training them.
So Workforce Connections is the local workforce board for the southern regions. We have 4 counties down here on the south, and then we have a partner in the north, Nevada Works, and they handle the northern counties. So we have oversight on the direction of some of the partners that are involved. One of those partners is the American Job Centers.
Okay.
So the American Job Centers have been rebranded as the Employee NV hubs. So you have your job seeker hubs, you have your business hubs. So in a sense, utilizing the Employee NV system, it is the largest employment talent search platform that we have in Nevada. But not only are we trying to place dislocated workers or workers who are entering into the workforce, but I think our focus is really more on upskilling and making sure that there are avenues for support and resources for job seekers, whether that's changing their career, whether that's getting that certification that they need to, get hired or move to the next phase. So the American Job Centers kind of have a little bit of a different function rather than just a staffing agency, and it's really making those connections across the valley.
Right. And what about your youth program? Because I know that I met with someone through the youth program to see if we can bring in some youth to be able to train, because there's not a lot of really good recruiters. Not a lot of really good recruiters, I'm telling you. There's a lot of imposters out there that you really have to have the right skill sets, and you have to develop them in order to be a really good recruiter. A recruiter is not an HR manager.
Right.
Very different, right? And so I know I had reached out to you guys, and I signed up, but to this day, I still haven't been able to get a youth to train.
Yeah,
so it's very challenging.
It is challenging, and you have so many complications when you're talking about youth, right? Oftentimes, when you're talking about the age range that's 16 to 24, you don't know what kind of circumstances. It may be even harder for youth to enter into the workforce because maybe their parents are really relying on them to watch a younger sibling. They're still kind of trying to balance school, or they're trying to figure out who they are as a person, and there's intricacies laid on top of dealing with youth. So one of the things we definitely focus on is making sure that the students finish school.
Right, definitely.
Give them the guidance to finish school. For the students who are absolutely convinced that school isn't for me, we look at alternative programs to make sure that they have some sort of certificate, some sort of training that they can take with them. So and then you have your opportunity youth as well, those ones who are dislocated from work and school, and we're looking for those students. We're trying to engage with them, or those pupils. I suppose they're not students if they're dislocated.
Right.
And we're terming those as opportunity youth because it's an opportunity to re-engage them with the system as well.
So for a business that wants to work with Workforce Connection, Employ Nevada, Do they have to be a small business? Can they be a large business? Can they be any type of large corporation to be able to work with them? And then if so, what are the type of services that are offered? Because I know that there are grants available out there, so I'm not sure if they apply for large corporations.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what size your business is. Really, the basics are that you need to have an unemployment UI account with the state of Nevada. That's kind of just a standard tracking mechanism, right? So it can be difficult to work with sole proprietors in that case where, you don't have somebody listed as an employee. But there are workarounds. That doesn't mean that they can't be part of the conversation. That doesn't mean they can't be part of our events. But in order for you to engage with some of the different funding streams, it doesn't matter what type of business. So the difference, though, is that when you have a large corporation, some of the grants may help, but those corporations typically have programs that are built around upskilling their own employees. They have their own HR department. They have hiring events on the scale of like MGM grant, right?
Right.
But we still partner with them. It's just a different conversation. For small businesses, I think that that's where our niche really serves the most. A $10,000 grant to upskill your employees, get that
that's
certification, that's a big deal for a small business. In some cases, we do have flexible funds that can help support the worker with supplies or tools, which is, for a lot of people that can be a barrier to either upgrading their position or entering into the workforce. So you might have the training, but buying tools or having the right supplies can be a barrier. So we can partner with the businesses and some of the job seekers themselves in order to facilitate those resources.
For a staffing agency, and I don't know if you know the answer to the question, so I'm not going to get offended if you don't. If you're a staffing agency and you send people off to work, they're not sometimes working directly in your office.
Sure.
Are you still able to get an on-the-job training program in place? Like, let's say I am really trying to develop, I don't know, let's say my construction site. I'm really trying to develop it. And maybe someone doesn't want to take that risk on someone learning, but I can bring down my price, still bring this person in at a good price, paying wage, help them get their OSHA card, help them get stabilized to be able to take on that job. Can I do that as a staffing agency and take advantage of the on-the-job training grants? Do you know?
That is interesting. I think that's something that we'll have to discuss internally. Yeah. So because technically they would be on
my
payroll. And so that's a layer of intricacy that I haven't delved into yet, to be honest.
I definitely would love to have a conversation about that, because can you imagine if not, then there would be a great partnership with staffing agencies in our state, not just me, but other staffing agencies who are like, here, let's help develop our workforce.
Right.
Absolutely. And so the person really who's taking the risk is the staffing agency, because they're under our insurance, they're under everything. If they get injured, it's our injury, right? But then the goal is for the client to absolutely fall in love with them. So after 3 months, they hire them on.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do we conquer this together?
Yeah. So, and we do have that opportunity for businesses themselves to be able to kind of pay for that interim period.
Right.
So that takes some of the burden off the employers themselves. But adding that layer of the contracting between a staffing agency is something that I'm not sure, but I will definitely bring that up. I'll see what the possibilities are for that.
Awesome. And what phone number, how can they get a hold of your department? Like, let's say there is a company out there who's thinking, God, I really want to see if I can take advantage of some of these services. It could be someone that's applying and looking for work. What would be their way of getting in a hold of Workforce Connection? Or someone like a company trying to see, how can I help offset my costs for training because it's so expensive?
Yeah. So we have a couple of different online routes you can take. If you go to the workforceconnections.org website, there is the front landing page, has multiple options, whether you're a job seeker or if you are a business. There's the industry sector ISP landing page. And that will kind of funnel you towards the business hub, the employee NV business hubs. Same thing for the job seekers. So there's information on the Workforce Connections website for job seekers, but it eventually kind of funnels you towards the employee NV job seeker websites. And there are layers of information.
Got it. So let's say it's somebody who's not on unemployment, but they're out of work and maybe their unemployment completely ran out. Can they still figure out how to take advantage of it? Do they go into the unemployment in their portal and then start applying for the positions there? How can they take advantage of this?
So you would go, if you want to engage with the employee NV system, you would go to a career coach. You would
To
go
a career coach.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then you would talk about your prior skill set, your current skill set, what you're looking, maybe the direction you want to go, what sort of opportunities you're looking for. And because we have the relationship with the businesses and, the job seekers, we can kind of look at matches and see what's coming up. We're looking at emerging industries and long-standing industries that are going to have a huge employment gap here. With how things are changing in technology and how new businesses are moving into the valley, and so we can kind of guide through all of those little idiosyncrasies and sort of figure out the path together.
Okay, Sherri, are you able to talk about the different sectors that you guys are focusing on helping and developing the workforce?
Yeah, so we have 7 sectors, and that is aligned Workforce Connections and the LVGEA blueprint. We're looking at emerging industries. So in the Valley, we know here that we're always going to have construction. We're always going to have healthcare. We're always going to have hospitality. Those are really our big 3. There's the clean tech industries. There is technology.
Technology like IT?
Like IT. It's I always fumble the name because communications is in there, and in my head it's ITC, but it's ICT. So it's IT communications, business and finance, which can be banks, it can be your engineers, your architecture, sort of that support group.
Okay.
We have healthcare is definitely one of them. We also have manufacturing and advanced manufacturing. We have
anything with administrative, recruiting, anything like in my sector?
Yeah, so business and finance would kind of be the sector that you fall into for sure. So that staffing and recruiting, any of those supportive services for businesses, we put in that group as well.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you would want to share with our audience, whether it be like someone looking for work or a client, a company out there seeking assistance?
Yeah, so definitely engage with us, and there's a contact form on the Workforce Connections website. There's a contact form on the Business Hub, the Career Hub, and the Youth Hub websites. You can send an email. Somebody will reach out to you directly, and definitely do it. There are probably more resources out there than people realize, and you don't know unless you start asking. And because this is a community, because this is multiple partners, including education, including vocational programs, including state agencies, all working together, the possibilities are endless. You just have to start talking and seeking, and we can meet you there.
So let's say I am someone that's looking to, I don't know, maybe become a CPA, right? And I haven't been able to find work, and I really want to get that opportunity. Can I reach out then to Employ Nevada or one of the sectors and say, is there any way that you can connect me with a company, and maybe I'm eligible for, not me for the actual grant, but the company eligible for the grant?
That is, so I would say that there might be some idiosyncrasies with how those arrangements would work, but so it would be different if you were looking as a job seeker who isn't currently employed, looking for a match with a company, versus a incumbent worker, somebody who's already with a company, and there's different tracks there. So we try to keep a tap as much as possible and connections with our businesses to know what sort of openings are available or where there's a need. And we can funnel people of interest or skill sets towards that direction, especially in cases, where there's a big gap. There's a big emerging or booming business now that has a bunch of openings or is expanded. We can funnel the job workers with that interest or skill set towards that direction and make those connections there.
Awesome. So if you're a company out there and you're looking to see how maybe you have someone in your company that you want to train to, maybe you have someone who is, I don't know, I'm going to use my company as an example. They're a recruiter, but now you want to train them to run your branch. So that you actually may be qualifying for some assistance to help you train that recruiter to become a branch manager, to move them up. Because what's going to happen is that person is going to get more skill sets. They're going to get a higher pay, right? And so then the state is willing to assist with a grant to help offset that cost. Also, if you're looking to maybe grow your company, especially if you're a small business, you're looking to grow it and you do have, like Sherri said, that you have your UI account with the unemployment department and you're looking to open up a new area. Like for me, I needed someone that I want to train as a business development manager. Okay. So I wanted to bring someone in as a marketing manager first and really try to see how we can start this podcast and really take it to the next level. At the same time, give that person those skill sets that they need to help the business grow as well. And so we were able to qualify for that grant. So the possibility is there.
Yeah.
Just make that call, go onto the website and see what you can do there. But Sherri, thank you so much for coming on to our show. We really appreciate it. What we try to cover here is we try to offer resources that our state offers that entrepreneur, that small business owner, anything that we can help with bettering our workforce, right? Including education. So those are the type of people that we invite onto our show. We don't charge them to come onto our show. We actually have sponsors. See Us Now Staffing is one of the sponsors. So is Creativa Consulting. And we're right now covering the cost in order to get the word out. So make sure that you tune in to our podcast. A new podcast is released every single Friday at 3 p.m. Till the next time. Thanks, Sherri.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.